Today, first I will explain what taking refuge means, and then the precepts to be adopted, to be abandoned, and other relating precepts. Of course, in relation to taking refuge. And then I will explain the ritual aspect, simple form, but still, since you are, some of you may not be familiar, so I'll explain the ritual aspect. And then before doing the ritual, or anyway, sometime in between, let us have a break, so to speak. Then if you have any questions, let us discuss. I would like to welcome any questions you might have, not only in relation to taking refuge, but any Dharma related in general, whatever questions you have, I'll try to answer. And then we do the ceremony, ritual, short form. Again, if some questions, otherwise then we conclude with the dedication. Okay. So that's how we do. Okay. At the meantime, sit comfortable and participate joyfully. So have a good time together. Okay. I'm drinking a tea here. Nowadays they said drink lots of water and all these things. Particularly it's not, weather is cool here, so warm tea helps me to sit comfortable. And I hope you are also. If it's in a cooling place, have some warm water. Yeah. Okay. This morning, I would like to begin with one verses from Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna said, "Kangi tutsi nyezuni tawa tamche panwichir tambi chuni tuenzeba kodam tela chansalo." Homage, Nagarjuna pay homage to Buddha Shakyamuni. And this paying homage, I noticed that His Holiness Dalai Lama, wherever he goes, before his teachings, he recites this homage prayer. So what does that mean in the prayer? Now if I say roughly, not a good translation by the way, Kangi Tutsi Nyezuni means, first line means By holding all sentient beings with your compassion, now Nagarjuna is addressing to Buddha, right? By holding all sentient beings by your compassion. Second is in order to abandon all the views or concepts. Tambichuni means you taught the Dharma. Gautam Tela Chansalo means to that Gautama Buddha I pay homage. So, what is Buddha Dharma teachings? Ultimately speaking, all Buddha Dharma teachings are geared to slowly strip away all the concept, beginning from grosser level of concept and to the subtle and more subtle. Finally, for the end result, Shantideva beautifully put it in his 10th chapter of Bodhicaya Avatara. He said, neither existence nor non-existence remain before my mind. And beyond that, what is to grasp on? Remain concept-free. That is the ultimate teachings of Buddha Dharma. In this case, from ultimate point of view, then your concept of being Buddhist is to get rid of. So real Buddhist teachings, practice, has to do with becoming not Buddhist. They're concept-free, going beyond. Gate gate, parasangate, bodhi soha, ultimate teachings. I want you to keep this in mind, since we do today Buddhist kind of becoming Buddhist ritual. Now, let's get back to the relative level. Here on the relative level, then of course, to be attaining that concept-free state, we first have to embark on the path of concept. See, lots of conceptions. If one say that these conception practices are not necessary, then again it's wrong. Buddha Maitreya, said the Dharma teachings and practices are like a boat, ferry boat. In order to get to the island of liberation, crossing this ocean of samsara, sufferings of samsara, like a ferry boat. To get to the island of liberation, you must use that boat. If you do not use that boat, then again we won't get there. We won't get. At the same time, once you get there to the island of liberation, what Dharma has to do with? The ferry boat has no walk once you got out there. You do not have to carry on that ferry boat walking in that island of liberation. And yet, this is the boat, ferry boat is what you need to get there. So that ferry boat is what we are going to talk about today. So, taking refuge is now the ferry boat. Ah. Also, I want to say that I hear lots of talks about, especially Dharma in the West, relatively new. Some scholars say Dharma is not a religion. Buddhism is not a religion, but a philosophy. Or some say science of mind. And of course, we don't have time here to entertain those concepts. But anyway, since ultimate Buddha Dharma teaching is all about awakening, so I guess the whole teachings, when you try to fit in the Abrahamic religion teachings, it's rather difficult, I guess, to fit there to designate as a religion per se. Okay. Anyway, now let us talk about the ferry boat, taking refuge. Taking refuge, I explained that yesterday, Buddha Jewel, Dharma Jewel, Sangha Jewel. Why we take refuge? Because the samsara as it is, to begin with, life is impermanent. What we have accumulated will come to an end. This very body one have will come to an end. So what is there that searching so much comfort and ease in the material phenomena? Yes, we need all of these, but ultimately speaking, then, like Siddhartha, Buddhist people find no meaning. So with that, turn one's mind toward spirituality, toward Dharma. When one turns one's mind toward Dharma, here you find three jewels: Buddha jewel, the awakened one; Dharma jewel, the path, the teachings; Sangha jewel, the one who practices these paths. Okay. Now, what does it mean taking refuge? Taking refuge in the Buddha means from here, from this moment on, until one becomes enlightened. The duration here it is making is that from this moment on, until I become myself, become fully awakened. How long it may take, doesn't matter. This life or next life, until one become fully awakened, following Buddha's footsteps, So ultimate trust relied in the full awakened ones, the Buddha, the perfect teacher. There's a perfect teacher, perfect guide, right? Taking refuge in Dharma means as a Dharma as the path which lead to perfect enlightenment, the path, or embark on the path of liberations. Taking refuge Sangha means now from here, this moment on, whom one consider the real companions, supreme companions, those who are on the path of liberation, like bodhisattvas, advanced masters, who are not enlightened, but getting there, all these advanced supreme sanghas, as well as beginners like oneself, all these sanghas. I consider the perfect companion, perfect friend, because these all took refuge in the Buddha jewel and walk on the path of liberation, the Dharma jewel. So these folks venerate, respect, consider a perfect friend. That is all refuge is about. Now, without taking refuge, how can you practice Dharma? In order to practice Dharma, one must take refuge in the three jewels. If one takes this refuge, then one can really practice Dharma like that. So, taking refuge in three jewels is the doorway. Now you enter into the path of liberations. Enter the gate, so to speak, by taking refuge in three jewels. And from this moment on, you are called Buddhist. The concept, the ferry boat, which is to be abandoned at the end, but much needed to cross the island, to cross the ocean of samsara, and to get to the island of liberations. So what is Buddhist? What is non-Buddhist? Buddhists are those who took refuge in three jewels and those who are not. So here is the definitions we in the teachings, whether Buddhist or not Buddhist, how it is defined. Now, by the virtue of taking refuge in three jewels, we close the door to be born in three lower realms, the hell realms, Holy Ghost realms, animal realms. In Buddha Dharma teachings, we talk about as limitless as the sky, so are the sentient beings. But all can be included in 6 different realms. And these 3 lower realms, which has tremendous sufferings, by taking refuge in 3 jewels, one closes the door to be born in the 3 lower realms. And then one is forever protected by the Buddha jewel, enlightened one, by the Dharma jewel, the path which protects us, ultimately protect us, right? When one embark on the path, Dharma of realization. And one practice Dharma, one is literally protected from these outer suffering, inner mental defilements. Okay, like that. Now, there are lots of things to say, but that should be enough. And then we talk about inner three jewels. We find out later. Outer three jewels, as I explained. Inner three jewels in Vajrayana, we talk about Guru, Idam, Dakinis. Idam, Deity, Dakinis, and Guru. Three inner jewels. And secret three jewels are basically one's true nature, so-called Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, one's true nature as a Buddha, inherent purity. That inherent purity's quality is described in three aspects, the three kayas. Inner three jewels are these three kayas. But there is, some other subject later on we can talk about. Okay, that's it. And then now let us talk about some precepts, okay? Precepts. Do's and don'ts. Now we say that first do's, let's say. Once you take refuge in Buddha jewel, from here on, the precepts is that you are going to consider, respect, pay, homage, basically respecting all the representations of the Buddha. Like statues, tankas, we say, basically which represents Buddha, you venerate. You don't throw them or do things. And then after taking refuge in Dharma jewel, you respect all the things, books, pages, which are about the content Dharma teaching, you respect. So here I must say that in Buddhism, in the Buddhist practice, if it's content Dharma teachings, then we don't step on it. There's no thing. We don't step over also. It's such a disrespect, consider. Yeah? And this is actually beautiful things. You respect in a sense that, as I showed you yesterday, behind me, the statues on the right and left is all the texts. And then here I make all these offerings to put up there and venerate. Never step on the text, step over, which contains Buddha Dharma teachings. And that include also English. Not only we are talking about Tibetan things, but English Dharma books. It's not to put in the bathroom and like along the other magazines, which talks about Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. And all the gossips. So, and then after taking refuge in Sangha jewel, you respect all the Sangha things related to the Buddhist monks and nuns wear those whole things also you respect, venerate. Basically monks and nuns. So we do in 7 branch prayers, rejoicing in the merit of all the masters, practitioners. Basically respect all the things that are related to Sangha, even include respect. So these are 3 to be adopted. Okay. Now 3 to be abandoned. Okay. 3 to be abandoned. First is once taken refuge in the Buddha jewel, then ultimate refuge in the full awakened one. From here on, then one do not take refuge in those who are not fully awakened. Other deities, other, that's not the fully awakened ones, Yes, of course, we ask, for instance, in our practices, especially in the Vajrayana practices, lots of, asking the protections of local deities and all these things, elemental spirits, all are great. But they are not ultimate refuge, right? Ultimate refuge one take is in the fully awakened one, Okay. And after taking refuge in Dharma jewel, now the precepts to be abandoned is not to harm any being. Here, I sometimes make joke that one thing becoming Buddhist, you lose advantage. Maybe your hobby, sailing boat in the ocean and fishing. Let's go fishing. Have a good time in the ocean. That is no thing in Buddhism. You lose that. One hobby. But I hope you won't be sad, but glad that you lose that hobby. Buddhist people look at the fish and know fish wants happiness. Fish do not want sufferings. When you throw the bat, obviously he wants to eat something for the sake of his own happiness. He was caught. And when they pull out, it flips. Obviously, he is suffering. And people take joy in it. Imagine if a big hook grab your upper palate and then pull you out from the ocean. What would you feel? So becoming Buddhist simply means becoming more aware of, be able becoming more mindful. So in this case, no harming any beings means not only the fish, but crawling bugs on the ground, flying birds in the sky, all the human beings, your husband and wife, parents, relatives, siblings, all wishing for happiness, wishing to be free of sufferings, just like yourself, no difference. With that fundamental understanding, once take refuge in Buddha, in Dharma jewel, one totally abstain from all acts of harming others. The whole Siddhartha's living palace has to do with finding a solution to the sufferings of sentient beings, to his subjects. Love to his subject. So how's his teachings? If one practices his teachings, how can one harm other beings? So, not harming any other beings. Okay. And then, after taking refuge in Sangha jewel, one do not accompany those who put down the Buddha Dharma. The regular friend, of course, but there are those who particularly, dislike or put down, not accompanying or praising them or like that. So these are the three to be abandoned don'ts, and the other three to be adopted. Okay, the other precepts. I hope you can keep them and think about them time to time. Okay. Now, we also talk about supplementary kind of precepts, more in addition to these. Then we say that if then as a Buddhist, then to have a statues there. These are not precepts per se, just if one can, in addition to keeping these precepts, if one can, then have a statue or picture of the Buddha, which reminds you, So of course I would recommend, if print out a Buddha picture, put there. And then sometimes make offerings, offering can be just a flower, put there. Or now, if you want to get more of a Tibetan way, then 7 branch offerings, 7 offerings, the 7 bowls. So if you buy crystal, these 7, clean it very well. The whole process is beautiful, actually, And then pour clean water, and then candle you can buy. One lit, 1 candle, like that, or incense if you have. But to put it simple, just a picture of Buddha and a flower in front of a water, or glass of water. Make it full, make offerings. And then while making offerings, one thing that now doing this for the benefit of all sentient beings, and one say the refuge. I take refuge in Buddha Ju, Dharma Ju, Sangha Ju, and you remind yourself with these precepts. Actually, after this making offerings, you do 3 times prostrations and these things. Okay. Now what we do is let me first explain the ritual aspect. Then we question and answer. Okay, that's better. I hope you're not. I'm making you not feel bored have tea or drinks, whatever you have. Okay, now ritual, there will be ritual there, taking refuge. In this involved, first you cut hair, 1, 2 pieces of hair, or how many you want. Basically, cut your own hair. So here I say the long life mantra, and while I'm doing that, you cut your own hair. Why we do this? Because Siddhartha, when he left the palace, to embark on the path of liberations, first thing he did was he cut his own hair. Back then, see, as a prince, you have a long hair and all design, all these things. Cutting his hair marks the entrance to the path of liberations. So, cutting your hair while I'm doing my prayer has its own significance. So these are rituals, ceremonies, in some ways traditional, but that's significance. That's significance. Okay. And then, in order to receive the Buddhist the refuge vows, you first do 3 prostrations. Prostrations you do here for your throat, forehead, throat, and heart. Body, speech, and mind. Hold your hands together like this. And bend down, we say touching the 5 limbs on the ground. That is 2 knees, 2 hands, and forehead on the ground. Do that 3 times. While one doing that 3 times, one thing that one is doing in the presence of the Buddhas. Dharma and Sanghas. And here I'm representing the 3 jewels. So you do 3 prostrations. And then sit down. Once you sit down, then one thing about why one take refuge is for the benefit of all sentient beings. I want you to know that from here on, always to keep in mind is whatever we do in Buddhist practice is for the benefit of all sentient beings. That's how one begins the practice. Siddhartha, when he left the palace, he wasn't talking about becoming some kind of powerful for himself. He was seeking for perfect liberation. With that, king like bodhicitta, right? You first become king so that you have infinite power to liberate infinite sentient beings. So-called bodhicitta. So here, one thing. In the path of liberations, we have to change our motivation. Everything has to do with this motivation. Of course, a lot of teachings about it. But put it simple, you're not only thinking for yourself, but for all sentient beings' benefit, welfare of all sentient beings. And that, the very moment you think, then your spiritual path, the path to liberation, your kind of door is open. You think briefly, make sure you have the mind, bodhicitta, and then, I will say, the taking refuge in 3 jewels in English first, in order to understand, and I will say in Tibetan and in Sanskrit. And you just repeat after me. And while doing this, you think that you are taking refuge in the presence of the Buddha, jewel, Dharma jewel, Sangha jewel. I'll say first these words, and you repeat after me. Okay. And then His Holiness Dudjom Rinpoche's instruction, I snap the finger, topi, and you respond me, lekso, Lekso, lekso. Lekso means, topi, when I say, which means now you have received. And lekso means something that just simple word, okay, great, kind of thing. Okay. What else? And then I'll say some prayers, and then you rejoice now on the path of liberations. Formally enter. You rejoice in your own merit. Also, you rejoice the merit of all the beings who walk before you. Okay. And then I'll give you a name. Let me know how we do this. We just alphabetically, you let me know, and I'll show you the name. And then to this end, then you again do 3-time prostrations like before. And you sit down, and then we do the dedications, dedicate whole sentient beings. Okay, that is the whole thing. Taking refuge. Okay. So before we do the ceremony, do you have any questions?
Rinpoche, I'm going to read one that came in the chat from Selila. She says, hearing the beautiful explanations of no harm, do these vows require vegetarianism? I thought many Buddhists eat meat. Curious how this works or is explained. Well, even as a vegetable farmer, I know beings are injured along the way of even producing vegetables. Curious if you can point me in any way to understand this better. As I am not currently vegetarian and actively gardening, I want to make sure I am in the right way taking the vow.
Okay, beautiful questions. It is best to become vegetarian. No question about it. But I also want to say that not all Buddhist people are vegetarians. That include Tibetan Buddhist practitioners. One reason that not being vegetarians is that Buddha said to his followers, go and beg food. When you go and beg food, people give you whatever they have, whatever they eat. And you don't make fussy about it. Just take that food, dedicate the merit. If it's animal product, then in this way, if you are good practitioners, actually, you make the dedication married to these particular beings. So it's a wonderful thing, actually. And then Tibetan, what happened was that many of you know, way up in the high plateau, there wasn't any vegetarian, thing. So people survive on the animal products. So people are not vegetarians. But nowadays, lots of many, practitioners becoming vegetarians. But here, if you cannot become vegetarian, that is okay. And whenever we do prayers, we dedicate the merit. Whenever we do practices, Dharma practice, we dedicate the merit to all sentient beings, particularly those who are connected to oneself. So if you think about connections, how can be more connected than the beings, their meat you have eaten? So profoundly connected. So never forget doing the dedication to these particular beings. And then I want to also, to this question, I want to say that we call food prayer. Before eating food, you do a prayer. The prayer did the prayer go out? Rila? Hello? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sorry. I can show it on the screen. I haven't sent
Okay.
it out, but I can show it on the screen if you'd like.
Okay, that's okay. I'll just, later on, you will receive this prayer, you call opening prayer. It goes like, before you eat, that's how we do, then now, how you can do, see, make offering to the three jewels. The prayer is the supreme guide, the precious Buddha, supreme protector, the precious Dharma, supreme leader, the precious Sangha. To the most worthy triple gem refuge, I make offerings. So of course you don't have to go according, word by word according to this, but basically to keep the meaning, make offerings. Like that. And then not only, traditionally, we first do this offering and then we eat. Any food we eat, first we make this, say these prayers and then we eat the food. And think that this precious life one have, this opportunity one have, to enjoy this food is through the blessings of the three jewels. And I take this food, with this food's energy I gain, I will use for the benefit of all sentient beings for Dharma practice. So all these things, Buddhist practice. And then, Gandro Chuji Sanji La Chatsal, which means whenever we see beautiful things, in Santa Barbara, see beautiful places, beautiful gardens. And then as I walk through these gardens, I say these prayers, or in my mind, I make offerings for these beautiful objects to the three jewels, like that. And then I want to say lastly, yes, if one can become vegetarian, that's great. If one cannot become vegetarian, that doesn't mean that you are breaking the refuge vows. You do your practice, you dedicate the merit, you use that energy for the good work. So, okay, next, if you have one.
Yeah, let's see. Who else has a question? You can unmute yourself if you have a question, or you can type it into the chat so I can read the question or unmute you if you're having trouble. Let's see. Give people a moment. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Patricia.
You said don't take refuge in those who are not fully awakened ones, and that I feel that on a heart and soul level. My question is, respecting the beliefs of others. I do follow some of the teachings of Amma, and while those teachings are not Buddhist per se, they appear to be very respectful of all life and all beings. And so I just want to understand. For me, I have a deep reverence and respect for people who are in good conscience pursuing a spiritual path. And it doesn't mean, and I guess so, understanding the phrase take refuge, it's not that I would worship her, but I do honor her teachings and some teachings maybe of others. So is there a conflict in taking refuge now and also following, or at least maybe not following, but paying attention to and understanding some of these other teachings?
Yes, beautiful questions. Beautiful questions. So we have a practice called 7 branch prayers. One of the 7 branch prayers is called rejoicing. Rejoicing in the merit of all beings. Rejoicing the merit that somebody did wonderful things. So many wonderful beings in this world. We all rejoice in those merit. So many wonderful teachings, great philosophies. We all read those. We all rejoice in those. These teachings also help us to understand better, to become a better human beings, to cherish our human values. All these things are wonderful, you know. I read a lot, try to read a lot, not a lot I read, but I try to read. And in our lineage teachings, so that infinite respect. In Buddhism, see, the respect to all other lineage, other schools, other religions who are doing great things for the benefit of sentient beings. All subject to be rejoiced, to be venerated, to be venerated. So here the question is taking refuge. Taking refuge, well, these other religious figures, masters, Jesus, other all these great beings, maybe they are enlightened, fully awakened. Maybe they are not. It depends on your interpretations, ultimately speaking. So here we take refuge in the Buddha. Means Buddha basically means fully awakened one. How do you define fully awakened one? Yesterday I said Sang Je. You remember this word. Sang, which means completely purified all the defilements of sentient beings. Defilements of beings. What are that? These defilements are delusions, afflictive emotions, that which defiles, obscurations. Is there a being? Do you think this being is completely purified, sung? If that's the case, then it's the object of refuge. J, which means fully blossoms. Fully blossom, perfected all the qualities. J means, J has to do with, developed, fully developed, literally mean will be fully developed. Fully developed of what? Fully developed here in the Buddhist context, teaching says gone beyond. Gone beyond, in that beyond state, no boundaries, no limitations. Unlimited, unboundaries wisdoms do they possess. Unboundary compassion, limitless compassion do they possess. If there's both sung, completely purified, both sung and J fully developed, then it's the object of refuge. Beside that, as I said, rejoicing all the merits. Beautiful articles to read, so wonderful. So many things. Mahatma Gandhi's writings, I hope you read. Martin Luther King's. Basically, imagine all these things. It's wonderful to read, wonderful to follow some of the peace-loving people. That basically, what is good, what is not good now from Buddhist point of view, judge is that something that which brings benefit to beings directly or indirectly, all are good. Everything to be rejoiced, to read, to appreciate. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Again, if you want to unmute yourself or type into the chat.
I have one more question, please.
Okay.
And in your talk about the practice of taking refuge, you have talked about the 5 points touching the ground, and I have an issue with my knees. I can't put a lot of pressure on them. It's very painful. So what do we do in that situation if getting up and down from my knees is very difficult? Is there some other way we can honor the practice and show respect?
Yes. You just simply fold your hand like this to your heart and bow. Okay? That's all sufficient. You should not be thinking that you are not doing prostration, maybe then not good, not complete. Do not have any concept. Just do like this. Bow your hand.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right. All right. So
Good.
maybe
Okay.
you're complete. I don't see anybody else unmuting or chatting. So I think everybody's feeling very ready for refuge.
Okay. Okay. Now,
Oops, oh, no. Uh-oh, shoot.
okay, ready? Let me know.
Okay, wait. Okay. Yeah, I guess we're all good. How do you want things? Should we have people? No.
No, you don't. Just right now, just don't have to unmute. That's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let us begin. First, cutting hair. I will, do my prayer, and then recite the mantra. While doing so, you just cut your own hair, one piece or whatever you like. Let us do that first, okay? And here I will make my aspirations and then recite mantra. Are you ready? Now this moment, to some of you, will play significant role in your life down the road for your spiritual path, okay? And I'll make my own aspirations there. Okay, now let us do. Okay, to je ja je re zo zhong, yin je men zo de je bang jian ba, yin je men bo da bo je be bo, xia je ja bi sha la so ha de. Den de be zo, se ba men de men xi wa ma lin chuan zi ba, han je ba nang ji jiu, sang je de ba, me la zhang za lo. 망가와 대야 버림에다 아유냐나 순변에 스타텐도 란자야 다당가다야 아라데 삼년상 무대베 대야다옹베 메마하메 아바리메다 베네잖아 삼바로바제데 옴사와 상거라 버리슈데 다마데 가가 소바와 비슈데마 나야 버리와레소 마마라네 제멘테소 마마라네 제멘테소 마마라네 제멘테소 마마라네 제멘테소 Omamara ninjevente so mamara ninjevente so mamara ninjevente so loja zoje doje tonga da zirine me deje bento so teba chulang ne ba ju tashi ti chang de le shu. Okay, next, if you can do 3 times prostration. Stand up if you can. Okay, do 3 times. Have a seat, please. Now, change your motivations. You are taking refuge for the benefit of all sentient beings, to be awakened state of enlightenment. From there on, to bring infinite benefits to infinite sentient beings. Now you think, here I represent 3 jewels, as well as you think Buddha Shakyamuni, all Buddhas, masters, all witnessing in front of you. Enlightened beings and those who have taken refuge. All the Supreme Sanghas, all witnessing that you are taking refuge. Now, in their presence, you say this: prayers follow. Repeat after me, okay? As I say this, you repeat after me. First, you hold your hands together at your heart level. From this moment on,
From this moment on,
until I reach enlightenment,
until I reach enlightenment,
I take refuge
I take refuge
in the Buddha.
in the Buddha.
I take refuge
I take refuge
in the Dharma.
in the Dharma.
I take refuge
I take refuge
in the Sangha.
in the Sangha.
From this moment on,
From this moment on,
until I reach enlightenment,
until I reach enlightenment,
I take refuge
I take refuge
in the Buddha.
in the Buddha.
I take refuge
Refuge
in the Dharma.
Dharma,
I take refuge in the Sangha.
in the Sangha.
From this moment on,
From this moment on,
until I reach enlightenment,
until I reach enlightenment,
I take refuge
refuge
in the Buddha.
in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
Dharma,
I take refuge in the Sangha.
refuge in the Sangha.
Now I will say in Tibetan, repeat after me. Dundini
Nani Deni,
zungte
Nute,
changchup
Yangchu,
matopchi pardu
Machukti Bardu,
sanjela
Sanjela,
japsu chiu
Kapsuchio,
chola
Chula,
japsu chiu
Kapsuchio,
gendunla
Lula,
japsu chiu
Kapsuchio,
dundini zungte
Nunizunte,
changchup matopchi
Janchut Machukchi,
pardu
Bardu,
sanjela
Sanjela,
japsu chiu
Kapsuchio,
chola
Chula,
japsu chiu
Kapsuchio,
gendunla
Lula,
japsu chiu
Kapsuchio,
dundini
Nini,
zungte
Zunte,
changchup matopchi pardu
Machukti Bardu,
sanjela
Sanjela,
japsu chiu
Kapsuchio,
chola
Chula,
japsu chiu
Kapsuchio,
gendunla
Lula,
japsu chiu.
Kapsuchio.
I'll say in Sanskrit. Namo Buddhaya,
Namo Buddhaya,
Namo Dharmaya,
Namo Dharmaya,
Namo Sangaya,
Namo Sangaya,
Namo Buddhaya,
Namo Buddhaya,
Namo Dharmaya,
Namo Dharmaya,
Namo Sangaya,
Namo Sangaya,
Namo Buddhaya,
Namo Buddhaya,
Namo Dharmaya,
Namo Dharmaya,
Namo Sangaya.
Namo Sangaya.
Okay, now as I snap the finger, you repeat up, respond me like so, okay? Top in.
Lexo.
Now I'll say a prayer. While I'm saying prayer, you rejoice in your own merit, taking this refuge. And refuge were taken in the past before you, all the merits you rejoice because now you're on the path of liberations. the genuine path to liberation. Now you have entered. Okay. Okay, and then now I give you a name. So can you unmute?
Everyone's unmuted now. I just unmuted. Oops.
So can you raise your hand or let me know who want to have name?
Okay. Let's see. Everybody's.
No?
That's another thing they could do. Okay. Well, let's start with John and Salila. I guess you can maybe people can start their video and everything hopefully will work out okay.
I don't know if you want to take picture, John. I would give you the name.
Okay. I can't see that.
Tenzing Norbu. Tenzing Norbu, okay? John?
I got it. Thank you.
Tenzing Norbu, okay. Who's there next?
You see Salila? I see Salila.
Yeah. Salila.
And maybe after you've received your name, maybe turn off the video. Thank you.
Salila Samten Wangmo, okay? Samten Wangmo, Salila. From here on, your Dharma name Samten Wangmo.
Are you going to offer translations of the names, Rinpoche?
Okay. Tenzing Norbu, Tenzing means holder of the Buddha Dharma teachings. Norbu means jewel, wishful feeling jewel. Samten Wangmo, Samten means samadhi, meditation. Wangmo means who, the power. Okay. Next, Bob.
Yes.
You both? Okay. First, to Bob, I would say, Kunga Tsering, okay? Kunga. Kunga means loved by everyone, and Tsering means long life.
Thank you.
And Une, you also, right? Okay. Give you Changsem Dolma. Changsem means bodhicitta. Dolma means who has bodhicitta. Okay, then yeah, that's
Okay, let's get Caitlin is next. Let's see if your video comes on, Caitlin. There you are.
okay then. Caitlin, here give you Phuntsok children. Phuntsok children. Okay, precious Dharma. Precious Phuntsok means precious jewel, and children means Dharma. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Ahuva, I've just
Okay.
unmuted you, and there you should show up. And Caitlin, if you can turn off your video, thank you.
Ahuba. 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 Jamba Wangmo. Okay. Jamba Wangmo. Jamba means love. Wangmo means the power
You have that
of love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Patricia Morning Dove, I've just asked you to unmute. Yeah, there she is. Okay.
Okay. Teacher. Orgyen Phuntsok. Okay. Orgyen Phuntsok. Orgyen means Oriana. Phuntsok means the live by the Dharma of the origin, Oriana. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And here, we've got two people here. I need to turn on my video. There we go. There's Winterhawk. How are you getting your name? You writing it down? Oh, you'll take a picture. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Do you see Winterhawk?
Winterhawk?
Yes.
There you go.
There. Do you see her?
Okay.
Yes.
Winterhawk. Jurme Phuntsok. Okay. Jurme Phuntsok. Jurme means indestructible. Phuntsok means Dharma, indestructible Dharma. Okay. Another one?
Sita.
Gita. Okay.
Sita.
Pema children. Okay. Pema means again lotus. The Buddha. Lotus born Buddha. Children means the lotus born Buddha. It's Dharma. Okay.
Okay, now I know that originally Ani
Okay.
Chonyid was also participating. I don't know if she was.
Rinpoche, I do
I
not.
already have name.
I have already named.
It's
Yes, several names. Thank you.
Yeah, Anila. Okay.
Did we miss
Now,
anything? Let me just make sure. We got. Did everybody get a name? I guess everybody did. Okay.
okay.
Myself.
Now, okay. Before we do the dedication, please one more 3 prostration. Okay, now sit. Okay. Now I'll say this prayer and we do dedication again, but right now, of course, you now think that by this merit, all sentient, by this taking, by the merit of taking this refuge vows, may I, walk on the path of liberations. May I, attain the state of enlightenment. And with this, may I bring infinite benefit to infinite sentient beings. And basically, you think that you dedicate this merit, whatever merit is there, from here moment on until one reach enlightenment, whatever merit right now until reach enlightenment, however merit you are going to accumulate, one thing that one dedicate for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay? Okay, that's it. Yeah. Before we conclude, you have any questions? Or we are?
Let's see. Does anybody have
I have a question. In the Chenrezig Sadhana that we have recited as part of the studies with Willa, there was a part of the prayer that kind of led to some confusion within me. And it says, with the power of evil karma gathered from beginningless time, sentient beings through the force of stupidity are born as animals and experience the suffering of dullness and stupidity. May they all be born in your presence, protector. And when I heard that, it left me confused because I have had animals in my life, all of my life, since I was a teenager. And I find them to be great teachers. And I find a lot of spirituality and wisdom in them. And so as these words of animals as being dull and stupid, it left a lot of confusion. And so I was wondering if you could enlighten me so that I could understand what that prayer is addressing.
Yes. We in our practice, 6 different realms are there because of 6 different afflictive emotions. Nobody created the suffering for our own creations. There's the fundamental teachings. So each different realms happen to be there due to these karmas. These karmas are based on karmas come from what we talked about yesterday, come from mind, right? These karmas are accumulated based on ignorance, mostly, that result in animal realms. But here, what one have to know is that we're not talking about, of course not, the animal only has the ignorance or delusions. So different levels of ignorance, but all have ignorance. Beings in hell realms accumulate that merit to be born in hell realm based on their ignorance. And then ignorance, of course ignorance there, but hell realms mostly based on hatred, anger based, tremendous negative karmas created and being born in hell realms like that. So predominantly, we said is relating to these 6 different realms. Humans now all types of ignorance, but to be born in human realms based on the desire, attachments, the karma produce karma produce, and that by that karma, beings born as a human. So there's no such thing as only ignorance is there, not in human, not in hell, beings in hell realms. But we're simply talking about what's the predominant state of emotions. For instance, desire, attachments, all has to do with the play of ignorance, like that. Pride, greed, all play of ignorance also, but different aspects, same thing. And then animal realms. Animal realms, just because of animal doesn't mean that they are only ignorant. Of course, bodhisattvas, manifestations. If you read Buddha's story, Buddha was born in a different animal realms, being born in such animal, and 6 Buddhas to 6 different realms we talk about. Actually, they are all this in animal form, but all animals, not, of course, play an important role of ignorance and delusion, stupidity. Again, is stupidity and ignorance, not only animals thing, that all, until one become fully awakened. That's why Buddha Dharma practice is to the method to slowly reduce these ignorance, delusions, become fully awakened. That is the whole teachings about. And I must say, of course, there are, certain animals and cats, dogs that you love so much. And that's what so many benefit we get from them. Great, so great. But as long as one is not fully awakened, the play of ignorance, the play of greed, anger, jealousy, all these are part of it. And here, working on the path of liberation means then we are now becoming Buddhist, means now we are committed to do our best. Yesterday, I briefly mentioned this when somebody say, why Buddhist people have such attitude, sometimes even worse than other people. Well, Buddhist people have these things, the delusions, the stupidity, different levels of stupidity, delusions. But we are committed. The commitment is there to be good, to be free from all ignorance, all delusions. If that commitment is lost, then we have nothing left. As long as the sincere commitment is to be awakened from these delusions, then we are Buddhists. We may not appear to be Buddhists at the time being, for the time being, but the commitment is there. So, as I was saying yesterday, outer composure may lose, but inner composure should not lose. So, stupidity, you don't take it a kind of very negative sense, Ignorance, delusion. So we're talking about something mental state, that not fully awakened, that is still to be kind of awakened. In animal realm, beautiful and wonderful, excellent, intelligent. Some cases, more intelligent than human animals are. More compassionate than humans. And here, what we're talking about, all this ignorance, these things, each different realms, each different beings in 6 different realms, each have all this, all these things, all these emotions. Only, the predominantly, we talk about what kind of karma that make you to be born in animal realm. Then we talk about the predominantly through ignorance accumulated karma you have been born in animal realms. So I should also say that generally speaking, yes, human birth is considered precious. Okay.